Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to Factorio with me, Lathrix. And of course, welcome to our ever-expanding factory, currently going through a bit of a iron and oil crisis. In today's episode, I am planning to fix both of these using the power of trains, something I've not really done in the past, so I'm a little bit nervous about it, but hopefully it will do okay. But before we get into that, we're going to do one of the most complex things in the game, which is sort out the purple science production, the final level of science production. There it is. And as we can see, it's incredibly difficult, needing a grand total of 1 resource, and that's actually completely it. It's really bizarre how easy this is, considering how difficult the blue science is. So there we go with the alien artifacts we've got so far. Now what I want to see is how many of these is produced from a single alien artifact. I think it's 10, in fact it even says 10 on the top, so I simply could have looked there. I think I'm going to need a faster inserter. In fact, well, maybe 2. There we go, that looks better. Okay, so purple science is now in the system, so at any point if I want to use the purple science researches, something like perhaps the laser shooting speed increase or laser damage increase, which is what I'm going for, then now I have purple science. Absolutely fantastic. So let's talk about trains. How are we going to do this? How is the train going to get oil from the fields down in the south all the way up into the main factory? Well, that's something I'm not 100% sure of, because I've never done this before, like I mentioned. Lasers. So, before being distracted more by lasers, let's see exactly what we've got. We've already got the cargo wagons, I made that just a second ago off camera, and I already have the diesel locomotive. So 2 parts of the train I've already got. What I'm going to need is the rails, and I don't think I'm going to need the rail signals. I do have train stops. So the idea is the train goes all the way down, stops at the stop, as you might imagine, and then collects, if I can find them, there we are, filled crude oil barrels. These filled crude oil barrels go all the way back up to here, in which they're emptied. The emptied barrels are then put back on the train to be used again when they get back to the main area, the oil area, so they can be filled again, and it simply repeats this. When it's emptied, the oil goes into the pipeline, because if you add a liquid to these lovely things, the assembly machines, you actually have a little liquid inserty area. So, that's the theory, that's the idea. It sounds really simple. However, I am an idiot, and idiots tend to do things like this incredibly slowly and incredibly inefficiently. But that's really all we can do then. So what I need to do now is make a load of track. I'm going to try and make 100 straight and perhaps 20 curved rail. What I do need though is some stone. Getting some weird frame loss at the moment, which is a shame. I have no idea why. Hello, stone. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to do quite a bit of stone, so what I could do is quickly just pop that there. So any spare stone that isn't being smelted, go into that chest. There we are. That'll make collecting it a lot easier, but for now, I'm just going to go ahead and grab all of this very, very slowly. How many can I make? Okay, so I can actually make all the straight rail I want already. I probably won't need 100, but it doesn't seem... Well, it takes almost no time at all to create, so I'm just going to make it in my inventory rather than making some machine to make it. Power to the people and all that. Then, I'm going to start making the curved rail, and we'll be right back once I've made 100 straight and, like I say, maybe 20 curved? So here we are, my first ever attempt at setting up a train station, and boy could I do this better. But it should function, and that's the important thing for now. Like many of the things I've been doing, it's all been a learning experience. So we have our 2 diesel locomotives, because I'm incredibly lazy. We're simply going to have it so it can move backwards and forwards on a single line. We're not going to loop it, we're not going to make it complex, and if we need iron, we're simply going to add a additional lines. So it's all nice and simple, it doesn't cross over, and doesn't go absolutely insane. Although the insane train builds can be awesome, they're definitely out of my league, at least for now. So how this functions is actually a lot simpler than I first thought. When the cargo wagon comes back full of oil barrels, the oil barrels are swiftly put into these assembly machines. The assembly machines turn the crude oil barrels into empty crude oil barrels and simply oil. The oil gets shipped off to the refineries, and the oil barrels get put onto this transport belt, which goes to this side here. We have smart inserters to make sure fuel goes into the diesel locomotives currently being provided by our new chemical plant, and the empty barrels get put back into the cargo wagons. And then after a set amount of time, it will go on its way using this thing here, the train scheduler, which we can't really use right now because we only have one stop. So that then goes all the way down to the oil section, which we have the opposite process. The empty barrels get put into assembly machines, which are currently being pumped with oil. They then fill the barrels and then put them back into the cargo wagons. It's actually a bit simpler down there because we don't actually have the fuel element to worry about, since this is also going to be the only refueling station. So that's pretty simple, it's pretty straightforward, and should hopefully get us a fair bit of oil. I do feel like, however, we are going to need more cargo wagons, which does mean I have put this in quite a bad place, but for now, again, learning experience. Let's see how this does. Do I have big electric poles? Yes, I do. Let's make sure I've got all of the items I need before going down. I'm going to need at least 3 pump jacks, but I think I actually need more, so let's start making those. I'll make 10 pump jacks. I'll make a load more of the big electric poles along with the medium electric poles, and then all I really need in addition to that is the assembly machines. Okay. Also, I realised that Fraps was displaying its number counter in the corner, so yay for me eventually noticing that. I have just realised a better way of doing this would have been using the inserters to place the filled oil barrels into chests. That way, even if the assembly machines are actually busy, the chests will still get filled, which means the oil is still in the factory. And only once the oil has been completely removed would the train accept the empty barrels again. That would have been a much better way of doing things, but currently we've got it all set up like this, so we're going to leave it like this for now. As soon as it works, I will simply shift all of this one to the left and therefore add some chests. In fact, no, 2 to the left, therefore adding chests and a second layer of inserters. That would definitely be a much better way of doing this. Just ensuring that the train doesn't go back with oil still in its cargo. Because at the moment, we're probably going to have to sit here for quite some time. How long does this process actually take? Let's have a quick look-see. Empty crude oil barrel takes 1 second. That's 1 second per barrel. Each barrel is only giving us 25 oil. Well, actually 25 isn't exactly a small amount, but we are going to be dealing with rather large amounts in the cargo, so yeah, that would definitely be better. Or again, simply having more cargo wagons so we have more assembly machines going. One of the two would be best. The train got here without issue, which honestly is a major win already, and I have realised something which I may have done very wrong at the factory. At the moment, the empty barrels are all going to be taken by this cargo wagon because it simply goes past, and since it's a first come first served basis, this cargo wagon is always going to get the empty barrel. So what I need to do is something more akin to this, where the assembly machines feed back into the specific cargo wagon they're fed from. That way it's not so much of a major issue. Anyway, now we're here, I am making some more weapons, so I have laser turrets everywhere, because sadly these pump jacks are going to produce pollution, and we're almost ready to go. So if I can just put this up, there we are. So I need you to make this one here. Fill crude oil, and believe it or not, fill crude oil. Okay, and then we need the power supply. To the pump jacks as well, which is the scary part, because now we're going to be producing pollution, and pollution means very scary things. Like global warming. There we are. Wait, how is that about okay, that one wasn't connected, was it? Okay, there we are. All good. Almost getting our laser turret sorted as well, so now we just need to hook up these with our pipes, which I can't see in my inventory. There we are. And that's all good to go, and there we are. Okay, on the upside, that looks incredibly quick, so it doesn't seem like we'll actually have to wait around for too long, even with only 3 assembly machines. That's very, very good. So now what I need to do is sort out how this works. By the way, I have no idea how this works. It's currently running, so it will stay for 30 seconds. Okay, in that case, let's get to the top quickly and sit in here. So if all works out well, in 30 seconds time, this should go flying off back to the factory. Please work. Please work. Please work. It feels like it's been more than 30 seconds already, but I might be very impatient. I don't want to leave the train, because if I leave the train, knowing my luck, it will then go. There we are! The train departs from our little oil field, using the gate, which means aliens can't get in so easily. I've got to be honest, I'm starting to love trains already. Now I'm learning how they actually work. They seem to be really cool. This goes here, and as soon as it stops, that should work. Yep, empty barrels are now going there, which means the oil is... Yep, the oil is now going into the pipes, and that should continue all, well, for a while. This needs to be faster, because these are going to take a while to get to here. Oh yeah, I forgot we have the smart inserters there like that. Okay. That's actually nothing important, but still. So this one, like I say, is going to get all of them, and I could limit it. The problem is I would limit everything, including the oil. Yeah, that needs to be faster. Okay, so that's a big issue. So we need the fast transport belts, and we need a better buffer system. Well, or to say basic split system, so that all the barrels don't end up in one of the wagons. And then it reverses the process. Cool. Well, it's working, and that's good. So, yeah, we definitely need to do all that. So, do I have enough fast transport belts? I'll make those, and that way, when we get back, I can replace the fast transport belts straight away, so at least I have one cargo wagon actually ready. Also, this is a lot of oil we're producing right now. There's actually even more over here. There's one there, but there's also a couple, I think, on the map. It's really hard to tell. Oh, no, it's just one. Never mind, then. Oh, wow, you can actually see the train moving. Tiny little thing that amused me way more than it should. Okay, we're now on that train. Eventually, I do want to do one of these for iron. There's iron everywhere, so I'm kind of spoilt for choice to where I want to go. Okay, let's get out of this and let's sort this out then. Now, I think you can replace this by just... Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that didn't really help much, did it? Make it faster. I need to start making these automatically. I really do. It's quite a simple process as well, so... Oh, so many things to work on. So many things. I kind of love-hate that about Factorio. Half of me loves it because you always have something to work on. There's always something you can make better. And I've got a lot of things currently which could be made better by a long shot. But at the same time, it's a little overwhelming. You kind of look at it and all you can think of is, wow, I've got so much left to do. Why does this go so far down? Oh, because of the fuel. Yeah, maybe a splitter would be better. Maybe not going on the same line might be better than just having the fuel on the outside. With the long inserters, that would probably be a lot better, because right now that's just not working as intended at all. You go along there. And now we need to wait for those. Okay, so we'll be right back once I've got this working better than it currently is. I am really dumb. There was actually a really ridiculously simple solution to this entire time. Just replacing one of these fast inserters with a smart inserter going back. In fact, it doesn't even have to be a smart inserter, I just happened to have them in my inventory at the time. That means we don't need these smart inserters here. at all. They just don't need to exist. All of these barrels don't need to exist here. It's all really simple, because now the two assembly machines here will feed into the lower cargo, and these two will feed into the upper cargo, and they're getting fed by the same cargo they're feeding into. It's a really simple loop. And of course, when I redo this, which I can redo really easily now, in fact I'll do it after the train comes and goes again, I can move all of this there, which means I can put the boxes in, which means I'm mirroring what I did down near the oil. I was overthinking it massively. It was a really simple idea. Now, this one right now has no oil in. Why did you have no oil? That was curious. Why did that have virtually no oil ready? Okay, well, let's go back and see what's wrong there. Is it not waiting long enough, or have I created a problem back there? I probably have created a problem. I think this is the issue when you're doing something completely new. When you're doing something where it's every last thing you're doing is alien to you, you either overthink or underthink everything, because nothing is easy right now for me. Once I've done it once, then the next time I'll do it better and think of better solutions. That needs to be faster. That now has 10. If we get out for a second, that now has 8. Okay, no, it seems fine. Everything is working pretty much as intended there. Now it's to wait. Is it just amount of oil, or are we just out of barrels? No, that has 5 left. So either oil or barrels. Well, if we look now, I've got quite a few, so that seemed to work okay. It's now working better than it was. Now if we get back here now, we should see it all working fine. I'm going over the same things over and over again at the moment because, well, like I said, it's very confusing for me. Even though now I'm realising it's a really simple process. Wow. What did happen to all that oil? Seriously, what just happened to all of the oil barrels that was in here? That is weird. Because this one here is still working, but they were pretty much equal. And now this one has almost no barrels left. Do all of them transfer into one? I've got to investigate this. Okay, I can see the issue. It was actually on this side. So for a second, we're going to stop the train. Because we only have 3, we're not distributing it here correctly. We're taking away the blank oil barrels from this and giving this one oil, but then we're also taking the blank again from this one and then giving this one the oil, meaning we're constantly losing barrels in this and gaining barrels in this. In short, we're going to need 4 of these. And then just set that up more equally so we have them both only feeding their own cabins. Okay, well that was a pretty simple problem. All nicely solved. I haven't been playing Factorio for a while, can you tell? Okay, so we want it like... there, I think, will feed in. So if we say I want your oil for a second, just because you happen to have it. Okay, yeah, good. So that is the right place. Feed in. So that's the first one. And feed out. Feed out. Feed in. That should be the right place for these two, if I'm correct. First, second. Okay. Then we do the same here. Then this way. All is well, and the barrels go back to their right place, so we don't end up losing barrels in this one and gaining barrels in the bottom, because that's just silly. On the other side note, I actually just found out, we are now producing too much oil. There's so much oil, the refineries simply can't use it. It's not a matter of our storage is filled, we just aren't refining it fast enough, so that's fantastic. Oh, we have loads of oil left. As you can see, it's all oil barrels at this stage. Doesn't need to be exactly equal, just somewhere similar. There we go. That one has 18, that one has 24. There we are. Now we're back with 21, everyone's happy. And you can both even have one blank. There we are. Everything's good in the world again. feed, output, output, feed, doesn't really matter too much. Although now I am confused, which is a problem. Feed, output. Okay, I'll just go ahead and finish this, and we should be back in a second with a finished train system. Very basic, very poorly done, but it's going to work. And there we go, the oil system is now working, which means if we get into the train one last time, press run, in 30 seconds it will all start working and everything will be fine. We now have a decent amount of oil entering the system. We actually have some iron nearby, but that's a really low amount of it, so I'm not even going to bother with that. What we do need to do soon then is something very similar to this in that giant iron patch there. Almost the exact same thing, except way simpler actually. Put the raw ore into the train, go back to our station, put the raw ore back onto the transport tracks there into the main system, and then we have loads more iron, and again replace everything with the fast tracks. Today was a good learning experience. I feel like I've learned a lot with this, well, at least the very, very basics. Obviously I haven't played around with the stopping things like the, where are you, let's see your names, the rail signals and the rail chain signals. That's a really weird thing to read as someone who's dyslexic. Anyway, with that though, I'm afraid I'm all out of time for today's episode. If you have enjoyed the video, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that Factorio is a series you wish to see continued in the future. Next time, hopefully, I'll be a bit less derpy, and I just saw something explode. And we're going to go past it, so let's see what just exploded. You see, that's my fault for actually putting a turret there in the first place. The aliens don't seem to care about things which don't actively generate pollution. They don't go after the tracks, and they don't go after the power cables. At least, not what I've seen so far, so adding the gun there only attracts their attention. Well, thank you again for watching, and goodbye.